We have an update now out of Arizona. Our colleague Savannah Guthrie has just posted on Instagram. She shared a home movie from her childhood with her mom, Nancy, who disappeared from her home in Tucson nearly 2 weeks ago. The post reads, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." Let's watch. The video just 21 seconds long, but it speaks volumes about the bond between Savannah and her mother, just the bond among the entire Guthrie family, which has been as important as ever during this difficult time. Let's bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, we know there is still more activity in Arizona this morning as tips continue to come in following that video that was released a couple days ago. Where do things stand with the investigation right now?
Yeah, a heartfelt video there from our colleague Savannah, and I think it underscores the fact that, look, there has been no update from officials on what they think is the current status of Nancy Guthrie, and so since there's no evidence of one way or the other as to where she might be, what might have happened, the hope with the family still remains, understandably. It's the hope of investigators as well, and so, yes, they are still hopeful that there will be a positive outcome here. They have to be. You're looking at drone video, live drone video from over the house, the FBI there on scene conducting searches, we are told. There's a tent over the front door. You can kind of see it if you look towards the front of that building, not where the grass is, where that semicircular driveway is. And that tent is covering that entryway where we saw that fairly incredible doorbell camera, the Nest camera video from earlier this week when that was released by the FBI, getting the clearest photo yet of a subject that they are looking for, information on now. Well over 4,000 tips have been received as a result of that video going public, and so they are back at the house. This is the fourth or fifth time that they have been there. There was the initial scene processing that occurred after Nancy Guthrie was, in the words of the sheriff, taken from that home against her will. And then there was also several follow-ups by the FBI, and now they are there again as well. We don't know specifically what this particular search or effort is about. We do know that law enforcement was out with significant numbers this morning, pouring through that neighborhood, pouring through the brush and the heavy vegetation that is so clearly evident there on screen in an effort to continue searches. They found a glove yesterday, unclear whether that's going to be connected to this crime or not, that they've continued to look into items at the house, continued to conduct searches in the neighborhood. We have interviewed a number of neighbors who say they have been interviewed on several occasions by sheriff's investigators, detectives, as well as FBI special agents. And there was a call out last night, according to our affiliate, looking for video from some specific dates well before this incident occurred. So we're trying to get some more information, trying to get some more details on what this is about. But again, that tent covering that area where we saw that doorbell camera from earlier this week. So that's the status of the investigation. Very active this morning. I'm sure that they have some leads. That's almost guaranteed. How strong those leads are and where they end up through the course of today, we'll just have to continue to follow, Joe.
Tom, as we've been talking about this video that was released a couple days ago, there's sort of two things that come from that. One, releasing the video, you hope someone in the public sees something in that video, be it a piece of clothing or the gun holster, and calls in a tip saying, hey, I think I might know who this person is. The second thing is just that investigators can now look at what that person's wearing and do some investigating there, too. Talk about how big of a break that video has been in this.
Well, it's enormous. We've seen the FBI leverage that in the past to get to a point of getting the name of a suspect or more information about it. You know what they'll do, Joe, is they'll look at the backpack and they'll say, where was that purchased? They'll pull all the receipts, all the purchases from it. They'll do the same with the gun holster there that we just saw his left hand on as he approaches this camera. They'll do the same with everything that we can see in this, the sneakers, and try to put it all together and see if they can find some commonalities among names, identifications, dates. All of that would be so critical. The fact that they're looking for additional video from specific dates kind of leads us to believe that maybe they've got some ideas now of when this person could have been in this neighborhood, or if they were working with anybody else. We still don't know that. We talked to our law enforcement analyst, former ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jim Kavanaugh. He's of the belief that, but this probably involves now more than one person given the fact that we do not see a car. In the background of this video here is the vegetation's being placed over that Nest camera. So look, a lot of activity this morning. When we say that we think that they have some good leads and they're tracking some things down, we're always a little bit behind the investigation. Of course, things are developing rapidly on the ground. How soon that ends up with some answers for the Guthrie family, and the reason why we're talking here, this new video that our colleague Savannah has released, how soon that ends up in answers for them and for the public, we don't know. But we are hopeful that we will get some answers just as soon as investigators are able to start to piece this together. We did report last Friday, NBC News first report of a possible vehicle that they were looking at in connection with this. They've been pulling more video. They've been going to more stores in the area. And so between this emotional plea and the series of emotional pleas from the Guthrie family and from our colleague Savannah, as well as the images and evidence that police have been putting out, we're hopeful that this ends up in a situation where we can start to get some more information here and get to that conclusion, Joe.
Tom Winter, we know you'll continue to keep us updated. Again, just moments ago, our colleague Savannah Guthrie posting this home video with clips set to music, no words in it, but a powerful, brief message. Let's take a look. Colleague Savannah Guthrie continuing to try and keep us updated during this just unimaginably painful time for her family, always leading with her heart and with her faith. We want to bring in NBC's Liz Kreutz, who's in Tucson. She has been there since the very beginning. Liz, as we look at this video here, we're also seeing Savannah's former station, the station there in Tucson, posting a giant banner that says "Bring her home" and asking people in the community there to sign it. Of course, continued to ask people in the area if there's anything they saw that was suspicious around that time, in the days leading up, now even in the weeks leading up, to please let the FBI and local authorities know about it. Any tip, no tip is too small as they try and sort through everything. Tell us what you're seeing there today.
Yeah, hey, Joe, I mean, that video from Savannah is just heartbreaking now. 12 days into this search, 12 days of waiting for answers, any kind of information about where her beloved mother is. We all know how close she and her mom are. She talks about it frequently and has brought all of us into their friendship and their relationship, talking about how they're best friends. And it's just gut-wrenching to know what she and her family are going through, and to know the connection, the beautiful connection that they share. And we all just have our hearts with her and her family right now. As far as here in Tucson, I think that's just how the community is feeling. We're hearing from so many people and in the neighborhood that just say they feel helpless right now. And so in order to do something, they're trying to come up with efforts and ways to show their love and support. So we saw from our affiliate, our NBC affiliate, where Savannah once worked, they have that big banner up with those 3 critical words that Savannah's been using: bring her home. And they've been urging people here in the community to come down to their station and sign it with messages. At the house, Nancy Guthrie's house, there's a growing area where people are leaving messages and flowers. And yesterday, a message went out from the neighborhood association saying, we know that everybody's seeking something, whatever they want to do, some way to help. So they've come up with a way. They're asking people to bring yellow flowers, to leave them outside the home, and also to hang yellow ribbons outside their homes and around the neighborhood. All of that a traditional symbol of hope. So those are just the small ways that people are trying to show their love and support. But there's also practical ways. And we know that members of the community are scrubbing through all of their video, trying to rack their brains around anything they may have seen. I spoke to a neighbor yesterday who said that investigators have been at his home twice. He lives around the corner from Nancy Guthrie, and he said that he was being asked questions like, you know, what are your names? There's this basic normal questions, but what kind of car do you drive? And he said they were particularly asking throughout these visits, do you drive a truck? Have you seen a truck? We don't exactly know, why they're asking that, but that's particularly notable. He said that unfortunately he didn't have any clues to share. He's looked at his video. He didn't have anything, but he then decided his way to show support was to bring those yellow flowers. I do think it's notable, and Tom brought it up, that we are hearing from our affiliate, who's heard from some neighbors, that Ring camera put an alert out to neighbors that have a Ring camera, saying that they particularly would like you to look at video within these particular time frames. And it's very notable that one of those time frames is January 11th from 9 p.m. to midnight. I mean, that is 3 weeks before Nancy Guthrie went missing. Remember, she went missing on February 1st, and the other window is January 31st, the day before she went missing, from 9:30 to 11. So those very specific windows certainly give you hope that they're maybe narrowing down on something here.
And Liz, we only have a few seconds here, but we're seeing a tent has been placed outside of Nancy Guthrie's home, but we don't know much more about that, right?
We don't at this time. We reached out to officials about it. They say they have nothing to advise us on right now, but it is a white tent that is now covering the door entryway of Nancy Guthrie's home, which is where we can see in the surveillance video that suspect, that person, came into the home and tampered with the doorbell camera.
All right, Liz Kreutz reporting from Tucson. Thank you so much. Again, Savannah Guthrie posting our lovely mom. We will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope. If you have any information on Nancy's disappearance, call the tip line on your screen, 1-800-CALL-FBI. We have more headlines ahead.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.